Right guys, welcome to our next video, which is on the effects of training and evaluation of physical performance. So we're into topic 2 now, been through energy systems, and now we're looking at more about evaluating physical performance, but also the demands and analysing the demands of the sport or the physical activity. We'll start to look at our fitness testing as well, focusing on fitness factors, and then training principles and methods a bit later on. So before we start anything and analyse any particular sport or physical activity, we need to look at the demands of the sport. So whilst analysing a game, as a coach, there's a couple of things we need to work out before we can actually set up our training program. The first thing is to identify what are the major energy systems that are going to be used during that sport or physical activity. And also the major fitness factors. So we spoke about fitness factors being different components of fitness, so looking at not just focusing on fitness as an umbrella term, but actually unpacking it and actually looking at what different parts of fitness make up the important things for that sport. So we're looking at best preparing an athlete or our athletes for competition at some stage. So this is what we're looking at here in terms of being a coach, setting up a training program. These are the two main things we need to work out: what energy systems are being used, and then the fitness factors that are involved with that sport or activity. So starting off with the dominant energy system. So what's the intensity of the exercise? And what's the time frame? So we saw this back with the energy systems topic. The two things we need to know of any activity or exercise to determine which energy system is going to be used is the intensity and how long the actual activity or the movements last for. Also, this new concept here we haven't spoken about yet is the work to rest ratio. So work to rest ratio basically refers to the amount of work that you're going through plus taking into consideration how much rest the athlete's getting now. So this combination of these two things actually might influence and actually will change and help determine which energy system is going to be used. So you might be working for 30 seconds at max intensity with 3 minutes rest afterwards. This type of activity would be suited to the ATP PC system. But if we change that rest period, so we're still working at 30 seconds of max intensity exercise, but if we change that rest to now 30 seconds of rest instead of 3 minutes, we shift from using the ATP PC system because we don't have enough time for the CP stores to be replenished. So now we're looking at using or switching into using the lactic acid system as the more dominant supplier of energy. Also, we need to work out what the major fitness factors are. So fitness factors, there's a few of them. So what we're going to do is split them up into two subcategories: health-related fitness factors and skill-related fitness factors. First type of fitness factors we're going to look at here are the health-related fitness factors. Now, these are the ones that are going to have some benefit for us in terms of lifting or improving our status of health. So things that everyday people might be interested in, as well as athletes, but most likely if someone comes to you as a coach or a physical trainer, they're going to look at improving some sort of level of their health fitness. These are the things they might focus on. So the first one is cardiorespiratory or cardiovascular endurance. So important for everyday activities, also important for lots of team sports, but definitely relates quite closely to a certain level of health. If you've got a relatively good cardiorespiratory or cardiovascular endurance level, we're basically talking about the efficiency of your heart and lungs to provide oxygen to the working muscles for a long period of time. Flexibility is important for everyday people as well as athletes. So without flexibility, you can't move. So there needs to be some sort of elasticity and strength in terms of the muscles and movement in the range of motion through the joints. There's some flexibility there. Local muscular endurance, so similar to the cardiorespiratory endurance, however we're looking at a specific group of muscles, a localized group of muscles, and how long those muscles can work for over a period of time. Muscular strength, so muscular strength is important both for athletes and non-athletes, so particularly as you get older, muscular strength and bone strength is important for living. And body composition. Body composition refers to the percentage body fat that a person might have, the percentage of lean muscle mass that composes the body. So all these things, whilst we can, definitely train these and should be a focus for athletes of all different ranges. These are the fitness factors that are going to directly relate to healthy lifestyle living as well as skillful athletes. So the next one, we're going to look at the next type of fitness factors groups, these skill related. So these are more specific for athletes who are actually looking to improve their performance. Whilst it's not exclusively for athletes only, if you had like I said before, if you were a personal trainer and someone just came to you looking for some health benefits, you might not focus your time on these ones. You're going to most likely focus more of your effort on the previously gone through ones. So agility, speed, balance, coordination, muscular power, and reaction time. So speed, in terms of getting from point A to point B as fast as possible, not so much important for everyday people who are not looking to improve their athletic performance too much, but definitely for team sport athletes looking to increase their speed. So basically how fast you can move yourself from point A to point B, or a body part, so the speed of a body part. Agility, so basically changing direction with speed, and also balance. Again, it's not one of those things that's required for someone who's just an everyday person looking to improve the quality of their lifestyle. But yeah, definitely if someone's playing a team sport which requires a lot of change of direction. Balance, same sort of thing, unless you're doing it for a sport. Balance, I think balance is important for everyday life, but it's not one of the things that we need to focus on in terms of increasing our balance for performance for health-related people. Coordination, hand-eye coordination, muscular power, reaction time. So reaction time, important to note that whilst certain things do affect reaction time, we'll talk about this next semester, reaction time is something that we can actually train and get better. So muscular power, a combination of speed and strength. Now we've gone through this in class, but it's worthwhile just touching on it again. So in the exam or in our assignment in particular, we're going to get an athlete profile. So this is basically showing us snippets, or giving us snippets of what it's like to be an elite volleyball player. Now, for example, during a match, volleyball players make between 286 and 510 changes of direction, or roughly 3.5 to 4 each rally. So what you need to do is be able to get some information about an athlete, in this case a volleyball player. The information here is talking about change in direction, how many times it happens per rally, and we need to actually work out, the exam's going to ask us, and the assignment's going to ask us a question relating to, okay, what fitness factor and which energy system is important, or is most important in terms of supplying energy in this situation of the game. So number one, automatically it's talking about change in direction. It's talking about 286 and 510, so somewhere in between those two values, which is quite a large amount. So I would suggest that you could safely suggest that agility is an important fitness factor in the game of volleyball. Now, in terms of energy systems, this is a lot of change in direction. Change in direction equals speed plus balance, and doing the change in direction as fast as possible. So anything fast, high intensity, we're talking about 3.5 to 4 each rally. You're looking at a combination of ATP, PC, plus anaerobic glycolysis for the longer repeat effort rallies. So have a look at these. We've been through them in class. Have a look at them now in your own time. I want you to have a look at it, think about, okay, which energy system is this talking about, what fitness factor is this talking about, and then using the data to justify your answer. Okay. So now we're looking at the measurement and monitoring of our fitness. So what sort of things can we do to make sure that progress is being made, but also that our training program is actually doing what we planned out for it to be doing? So why do we conduct fitness tests? Three main reasons, I suppose. Identifying strengths and weaknesses of the athlete. So we might know by looking at them in their training program, okay, this person looks like they're fast, but without conducting a proper fitness test, we don't really know specifically how fast they are. By conducting a 20-meter fitness test or a 20-meter sprint, we'll be able to work out and get a value on how fast that athlete is. So fitness tests allow us to actually identify the strengths and weaknesses of an athlete at the beginning of a training program, but also the strengths and weaknesses as they progress through the training program. Motivation. So why could a fitness test be used as motivation? Anytime that you are lining up a team, so for example, a team of footballers, you're about to start a 2K time trial, players are looking around as they're running, and they're looking at players that maybe they're perhaps competing with in terms of a game on the weekend. So they know where they sit in terms of ability and where their competition is for spots in the team. Also motivation in terms of intrinsic motivation, so they might be trying to beat their previous time, or they've been set a time they need to achieve in order to get a game for that team. So motivation in terms of individual, so intrinsic motivation, but also extrinsic, so looking around and comparing yourself to your other teammates. And no matter what fitness tests we conduct, we need to always make sure that it's always going to assess the effectiveness of our training program. So to actually see how the training program is running, like I mentioned before, fitness tests are a good opportunity to see if our training program is actually training the fitness factors and the energy systems that we set out to actually improve and train. So how do we know which tests to conduct? So now we know why we need to conduct fitness tests. We've decided that we're going to do it for our team. But how do we know which ones to conduct? So whatever we do, we need to make sure that our fitness test is relevant to the sport, again, in terms of which energy systems are dominant in that sport, the fitness factors that we've identified as important, but also now we're looking at the muscles groups that are involved in that game or sport. So, for example, a lawn bowls athlete, I use the term athlete loosely, just joking. Not really. You need to identify the sport and the movements that are required for a lawn bowls athlete. Now, would it be beneficial for a lawn bowls athlete to do high weight reps, upper body reps, large amounts of strength movement in the upper body, chest and arms? Probably not, because the muscles that are actually used in that sport are more so the bending down of the legs and the lower back. So they're the muscle groups that we're going to target. So making sure that our fitness test isn't going to test our 1 rep max bench, for example. We might test, how many squats our athletes can do in a minute, and then test that over a period of time. We need to make sure that our fitness tests actually measure what they claim to be measuring. So the fitness factors and energy systems that we're set out to improve, is our fitness test actually measuring what we claim it to be? So the 20-meter shuttle test or the beep test, it's over 20 meters. Let's make sure we not get confused with, it's a 20-meter run, that must be testing the 20-meter sprint, or it must be testing the ATP CP system. We know that's not the case, because it's an actual aerobic test which we're testing our athletes over a long period of time. They turn around, change direction, and go until they can't go anymore. And the last one is making sure that our fitness tests are reliable. So the testing procedure is accurate and identical each time the test is conducted. So for example, the beep test, you might go inside the gym one day and do a beep test, but then 6 weeks down the track, you don't have access to the gym, so that means you have to go outside and conduct the test on the oval. So that's not repeating the test identically each time. You're changing something in the environment. So those results aren't going to be as reliable as what they could be.